there, this is Philip from Beyond the Tabletop. In this video I'm showing you how to add on the Krieg Tank Commanders to a Forgeworld tank. I'm doing this as part of my series on the Destroyer Tank Hunter, but it should work on any Forgeworld tank. I've also done it on some Games Workshop tanks, so let's get started. So this is going to be my tank commander. He was originally part of the super heavy upgrade kit from Forgeworld, but he's now been bundled in with the standard tank commander set. I really love the design of this guy. It's actually based on an old illustration by John Wigley, who actually did some of the very first illustrations of the Difficult but Krieg. I especially like the little ammo pouches on his helmet and the slightly different eye sockets in comparison to the normal Krieg gas masks. So this guy needs to somehow mount in here. As you can see, it's just not going to fit in there by default. So I need a way of locking him in. He also looks like he's just disappearing off and had his torso cut off. So I need a way in which I can sort of mount him on that looks half decent. Now this technique that I'm going to show you I've done before on my Baneblade, so it should work on any top hatch that you have. So what you need to do is take this plastic tank commander. This comes in the Lehman Russ kit, so I tend to have quite a lot spare for these, and then you just need to cut it in half along the waist. You can discard this top torso because all you're really after is this bottom one here. Now this guy here should now just sit comfortably on the underside of your turret, and that little lip will be a way in which you can glue that in place just like so, and then that will give you a top base for your tank commander to sit on. Now if you place these two halves together, you can see there's a bit of a discrepancy in the detail. The top guy has a trench coat, but now the bottom half is only some trousers, which isn't ideal really. Now most of this would probably be hidden by the top hatch itself, so it isn't too much to worry about. I've tried to take this one step further just by using some green stuff to sculpt on a sort of trench coat design to the bottom half, just to try and marry up those two profiles as best as possible. Now I know it's not necessarily exact, but it doesn't need to be, because that bottom half is going to be pretty hidden underneath that hatch, but should just give you a decent amount of similarity, so at a glance it wouldn't look too bad. Now you could quite easily glue him in place once you've got him painted up. However, for transportation purposes I've decided to magnetize it, but it also means that I can reuse this tank commander in other tanks. Because I know I'm not going to run my Destroyer Tank Hunter that often, what I can do is I can just pop him off and I can now drop him onto another tank that has a similar magnetized base. So it just means I only have to paint one tank commander up and I could potentially get more use out of him. So let's just add this bottom half in so you can see what it looks like, and then add him to the top. Now I don't even need to hold him in place. The magnets are keeping the two halves quite secure, and you can see he sits in quite well. So looking down into the hatch, you can barely see the bottom half. It's sort of there, but it's completely plunged into darkness, which is why that green stuff sculpt could be a bit rough and ready. It just needed to give a similar profile. So if you move the tank commander to the very front, you can just about make out that join between the green stuff. It's barely visible whatsoever, and if you move the tank commander to the back, that pretty much hides the join completely. And because of the overhang at the front, you can't really see it there at all. While I'm at it, I'm just going to show you how to fit the standard tank commander. Now if I bring in this other tank commander, you'll see that there's definitely a big height difference, and he's got a lot more of the upper leg visible. So the technique of adding him onto this base just wouldn't work. It would look really weird, and he would also stick out quite a lot. Now if I add this guy on, you'll see he's far too high up and standing right out of the tank. So to solve this, all you would need is a base. Ideally I would use a 28mm base, however this one is slightly larger. All you have to do is glue this base to the bottom. You can of course add in a magnet, and then he can just sit in like so. There he is. If you want to lower him down just a little bit more, all you have to do is take the base and inverse it like so, and then you can drop him in and that just lowers him down a couple of millimeters. Now, I'm not using this tank commander in this build, but I thought I would quickly show you how it can be done if you want to use it in yours. Just doing a dry fit of the tank, you can see how all the parts quite easily slot together like so. Now, if I was doing a non-Krieg tank, that might be it, though I could also add in some extra detail, such as adding in an aerial, which clearly needs to go in there, and potentially some extra stowage as well. That's all for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give me a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Let me know which tanks you're going to be adding your Krieg Tank Commanders to in the comments below. Now, if you're collecting a standard Astra Militarum army, this tank is all built and ready to be painted. I'm collecting this for my Def Corps of Krieg. I'm going to be adding in the trench rails and filter unit, which is the iconic look of the Krieg tanks. You can see how I do that in the next video. Until the next time, take care.